guard and circle us like hungry lions.
In the space of a few hours, an entire country was plunged into horror. Genocide was underway.
The complex impact of colonialism on humankind cannot be measured in words or numbers. This weaving of cultures, customs, and beliefs has led to some of the greatest conflicts in humankind, and yet also some of the greatest unifying moments. There is no better example of this than the Belgian colonization of Rwanda. What started as an unrightful division of citizens quietly escalated into a brutal genocide that ended with the responsibility of a broken nation to rebuild itself with a new vision of unity, human rights, accountability, and forgiveness. The ethnic division started in the early days of the occupation when the Belgians sorted the people into groups, mainly Hutu and Tutsi. In many cases, these ethnic groups were sorted simply based on measurements of their faces, eye color, and general proportions. Almost 85% of the population were labeled as Hutu, making them the ethnic majority. The Belgians forced everyone to carry identification cards which displayed their ethnic identity. The Belgian occupiers highly favored the Tutsi and considered the Hutu to be the inferior class. They provided the Tutsi children with better education and offered adults better jobs. Hutu people were generally not allowed to work in government and professional careers. Because of the racially fueled division and the obvious favoring of the Tutsi, the Belgians failed to uphold the most basic of human rights and the responsibilities of maintaining a peaceful culture for the Rwandan people. In 1960, the Belgians agreed to a general election. The minority Tutsi quickly lost political power as a new wave of Hutu politicians and military leaders gained control. By 1964, Hutu asserted complete dominance over the Tutsi, taking away all of their basic human rights and abolishing many of them from the country. In the early 90s, the RPF, a militia consisting of exiled Tutsi men in Uganda, launched a series of attacks on Rwanda, leading to the Civil War. This civil war lasted through the end of the genocide. It is largely believed that the genocide was calculated due to the fact that the Hutus stockpiled a huge supply of over 581 tons of machetes from 1992 to 1994.
A plane carrying the presidents of two African nations has apparently been shot down as it was coming in for a landing in the capital of Rwanda. UN officials say that both presidents were killed. They're the leader of Rwanda.
abakozi bandi cyabo barahari batagomba kuba kandi muri iki
Militiamen would have driven around in a car. They were always on patrol. There were no stops. Sometimes they'd come right up to us, enter the courtyard and circle us like hungry lions.
Hutu militiamen immediately set up roadblocks in the streets of the capital, Kigali. Here they are known as the Interahamwe.
Many people tried to hide in churches because they thought places of worship would be safe, but this in fact made it easier for the killers to massacre the people. Some of the only survivors were people who played dead and hid under piles of dead bodies and debris. Some lucky people escaped to neighboring countries such as Uganda and Tanzania.
Every day, thousands upon thousands of people fleeing the war-torn capital of Kigali arrive here in Ruhangu, trying to escape the war.
Because being near the border, seeing people fleeing over the night, crying, was like very tired, on empty stomachs. There was something that was not looking good.
In June 1994, after building a well-organized militia in Uganda, the RPF entered Rwanda in a desperate fight to end the genocide. They declared victory on July 4th, 1994. This marks the official end to both the Rwandan Genocide and the Civil War. Many developed nations, as well as the UN peacekeepers, failed at the responsibility of intervening in the early stages of the massacre and simply labeled the genocide as a conflict. Reports are still being published that highlight the lack of response from developed nations, despite widespread knowledge of the events that occurred.
In the past week, the United States has taken significant steps to alleviate the problems in Rwanda and the suffering, the terrible suffering of the refugees.
Although many nations finally offered assistance in the months that followed, the delayed response cost countless innocent lives. Over 12,000 people that were involved in the active killing of the genocide faced trial. To this day, arrest warrants are still being pursued. Rwandan people and their government took the responsibility of ensuring that both Rwanda and the world would never forget the atrocities that occurred. In the years that followed, the government of Rwanda constructed over 30 memorials and museums, with hundreds more established by local communities. Many of these memorials are very graphic in nature, yet meant to be a place of mourning and forgiveness. The official parliament building in Rwanda, which is the government headquarters, still has the scars of war. Bullet and shrapnel damage adorn the building as a powerful symbol of remembrance. I took these photos myself in February 2023. It is hard to imagine the chaos and bloodshed that occurred during those trying months. Peace baskets, the official symbol of forgiveness, were crafted and spread from neighbor to neighbor as a way of closing the door to hatred and opening a new door of forgiveness. The baskets were shared amongst neighbors and were filled with food such as grain, potatoes, and produce. A large peace basket sits on the top of a tall building in Kigali as a memorial for all to see. Forgiveness is a responsibility of all Rwandans, a responsibility they have embraced with open arms. I had the privilege to visit Rwanda in 2023 with my family. Our driver, Emmanuel, shared his experience as a young boy during the genocide. His family lived on the border in Uganda and helped many fleeing Tutsi people cross the river to safety and provided them with food and shelter. It is amazing to experience firsthand such a beautiful place full of friendly people. Rwanda is often described as the land of 1,000 hills and 1,000,000 smiles. There cannot possibly be a better way to describe it.